Good evening. I'm going to read further. As promised, I try to do this every day or night, every 24 hours. I'm continuing in my book, Zippers. You can find it on Amazon. Or at the end of this video, there'll be a link to my page that has links to the ebook, the paperback, and the hardcover. So God tells us clearly animals can be possessed by... so we're talking for Pat Robertson now. I'll try to do his voice clumsily, okay? So they're listening to the PTL Club, Jacob and Elise, otherwise known as Pepper, and Pat Robertson is accusing these animals of being possessed by demons because they can talk. So God tells us clearly animals could be possessed by unclean spirits, by the devil himself. I sometimes wonder what that herd of swine would have told the countryside had they not died so quickly by our Lord's quick actions. Pat's co-host was awestruck, as usual, thinking how insightful her mentor was, but even more so from what he was actually insinuating. So it's possible that this Zippers, and now even Sweet Cocoa, too, are possessed. Not only possible, Joanne, but probable. I plan to go into more detail tomorrow, but right now I'd very much like our listeners to consider giving... Jacob clicked his remote. Oh, this is great. Now we're not only going to have to prove we're the inventors of the formula, somehow we're going to have to prove to whack jobs like the 700 Club we're not in league with Satan. I'm not Legion. I'll tell Jimmy Fallon. I'm not a puss. Let me start that over. I'm not Legion. I'll tell Jimmy Fallon. I'm just a puss who loves Jesus. Did you hear that, Pepper? We have a Christian cat. What did he say? I didn't hear. He says he loves Jesus. How can you not love him? Answered Pepper. He taught us to love each other, share our riches with the poor, to challenge evil-intentioned power, even if it means doing so at a great risk. And those sorts aren't always Christians anyway. And a lot who say they are don't even really respect the main tenets. But speaking of which, maybe this is the time we answer some of those emails from those talk shows. Yeah, the more Zip and Coco talk, hopefully the sooner they can shut up the likes of Robertson. Wouldn't hurt, all joking aside, said Pepper, if we could get them to say a good word for religion, maybe once or twice if they did feel led to do so. I have a feeling the subject will find its way into some of these interviews eventually, said Jacob. What do you say, Zippers? If religion comes up, what's your attitude? Humans no like smart Christians. Jacob turned back to Pepper. He's on the gospel train, Pep. The next morning at 8 o'clock sharp, there was a rap on Jacob's damaged door. Are you Jacob Phelps? Asked the tall man with hollowed cheeks and paper-thin lips, clenching a cigarette. Yes, that's me. Jacob Phelps. He handed Jacob a large brown envelope. Sir, I just have some legal documents I'm supposed to deliver to you. Am I being served? Asked Jacob. I don't know, sir. I'm just here to give them to you. To serve them to me. I guess so. Well, that's all now. Have a good day. You too have a good day. The elderly man turned on his expensive heel and walked away to a waiting late model Cadillac. I'm being served, Zippers. Well, this is getting more like television every day, said Jacob's cat. Well, since we're contacting the Fallon folks, I guess you're right in more ways than one. Jacob sat down at his kitchen table and opened the envelope. Yep, I'm being... His cell phone rang. Jacob, I was just served. Oh, God, yes. You too, then, huh? Yep. Hey, Pepper. Call that greenhorn cousin of yours. We're going to have to our word against theirs sooner than we anticipated. That's the end of chapter 13. Chapter 14. The court date was set a month later, and it gave Herschel just enough time to form a working plan, an angle, and enough time to coach his two, or rather three, defendants. Being the first court case with a non-human as a witness, Herschel was less concerned with his own inexperience in the courtroom, but more so with the fear the system might dismiss and throw out one of his star deponents due to his species. One thing they felt confident on was the fact that much of the public was already a fan of Zippers, not only in America, but in other parts of the world due to the viral repostings of the 11th hour that the show received on YouTube and social media shares. Practically overnight, the talk on everyone's lips was the unbelievable magic the cat and the gorilla had stirred in them. It didn't matter if they were 3 years old or 93 years old, most people welcomed completely the thought of interspecies doors being slung wide open with communication and interaction. It was something, for some people anyways, to be embraced and not shunned. It was the Garden of Eden. But of course, not everybody felt this way. It was already obvious segments of the religious right community felt threatened by the very thought any other species could soon be regarded as equals to man. Laws would obviously soon have to be changed. The old debate on whether or not other animals have souls would undoubtedly hit a fever pitch. And many, many preachers and theologians, mostly within the fundamentalist stripes, would be following the path led by the 700 clubs of the world and the AM radio hellfire and brimstone pastors from all over the airwaves. Their consensus would be not to conform to any New Age ways or vegan hype. By considering the spirituality of animals, the emotional lives of others, this would be on par with denying their creator God to them, given the confines of their narrow, strict, man-made structures. Rather, they would be seen as becoming toyers with the demonic, no matter how much fairness, love, and understanding would be achieved. The consensus would be to in no way seek communication, seek understanding, seek a new horizon for humankind. The horizon was fine, just where it was. Toward heaven, forget Earth. Earth was a lost cause. A celebrity like Conan O'Brien, though religious himself, didn't help these authoritarian churches, however. Comedian talk hosts like O'Brien and Fallon didn't help the majority of the public take the TV evangelists. Didn't help the majority of the public take the TV evangelists too seriously. Conan somehow outbid or out-charmed the PR people behind the two Jimmys, Kimmel and Fallon, for Zipper's next big conversation for national television just days before his important court engagement. But it also didn't hurt that two guys in the mix were huge Conan fans, Jacob and Zippers himself. Kimmel was likable, and Fallon's penchant for silliness was something tempting to court. But neither could be as likable or as silly as Conan O'Brien, since Zippers often watched television with his friend Jacob long before he could ever utter his viewing preferences. He now was able to tell the group who he preferred. Aside from the politics, he was a Conan geek. And that's a good place to stop, because I only have 10 minutes on these little things, and we'll continue there tomorrow. Thank you for listening. GullerudBooks.com. I'll put a thing here, so you know how to spell Gullerud. Thank you. Hope you get it someday. Hope you get it in more ways than one. Thanks.